One's first impression of Vientiane is of a sleepy, backwater city set on the bend in the Mekong River. A city of quiet streets, tree-lined boulevards, grand avenues, glimpses of her imperial and colonial past, and numerous Buddhist temples. This is all true. Dig a little deeper though, and you will find that Vientiane has undergone several metamorphoses in her turbulent history, none more so than in the last century. There is no better illustration of these changes than those reflected in the variety of her rich architectural antecedents. My story begins when Laos became a French colony. When France formally took control of Laos in 1893, they found a largely ruined and desolate place, sacked first by the Siamese and later ransacked by Ho bandits. In the main, Vientiane was derelict, consisting of dilapidated, mainly wooden or bamboo stilted houses with thatched roofs, grouped around overgrown ruins of former temples and palaces. To reconstruct both residential and commercial areas of the city, the French authorities encouraged 30 Vietnamese families to move from Vientiane from Vietnam. These included carpenters, masons, interpreters, teachers, clerks and servants. In contrast to the rest of French Indochina, the French colonial government in Laos had a limited budget for infrastructural development and was unable to fund large French-style buildings on the same scale as in Hanoi, Saigon and to a lesser extent Phnom Penh. However, French colonial architecture still made an impact. The first major building to be constructed in the city was the Résidence Supérieure in 1902, strategically situated in the grounds of the ruined royal palace and adjacent to the Ha Pa Cao. This was followed by the construction of the nearby headquarters of the Service de Travaux Publics, completed in 1907. This now houses the Embassy of France. Within a short time, work began on the Plan de Limon, a grid system for the capital, leading from the Mekong River. As part of the plan, a new thoroughfare was created called the l'Avenue de France, now known as the Avenue Lanzanne. The avenue leads out of the city in a northeasterly direction, parallel to the ancient Thanon Nongburn. By the year 1920, a sewage system and basic electricity grid were in place. One of the earliest commercial buildings that still survives is the Education Printing Office. Originally built as the L'École Professionnelle between 1910 and 1911, the former school dormitories today house the printing works. The area around formed part of the core colonial establishment district that surrounded the French embassy. It included the Bureau de la Résidence, built in 1915. Today, it houses the offices of the Ministry of Information and Culture. Facing La Résidence is the Lycée Auguste Pavie, built in 1920. This now forms the heart of the Laos School of Medicine. Constructed in 1925, the Hôtel de Commissariat, the office of the French governor, subsequently housed the Ministry of Defense. In 1980, the building changed usage, becoming the Revolutionary Exhibition Hall. In 1985, the building was upgraded to become the Laos Revolutionary Museum, and finally in the year 2000, it was re-established as the Laos National Museum. The Église du Sacré-Cœur, Church of the Sacred Heart, was built in 1928. This Catholic church served both the French community and the Vietnamese administrative staff. Whilst the French colonial government established national libraries in Vietnam and Cambodia, they only created a small city library in Vientiane. In addition to the government and commercial buildings, the French also had two-storey brick and stucco villas constructed, with pitched tile roofs and wooden shuttered windows. These houses accommodated the colonial administrators and their families. As in Vietnam and Cambodia, the provincial French design was modified to suit the hot and humid tropical climate, with the addition of balconies, verandas and internal corridors. The actual building of these homes was entrusted in the main, to the migrant Vietnamese labour force, who were allowed to build their own two-storey shophouses in areas designated to them. Today, although many of these houses have disappeared, a good deal survive, although not always in fine condition. A number have changed usage to become restaurants, bars and banks, and a few remain as built in Buddhist temples. The early 1950s were years of optimism following independence from France. During this time, new and innovative architectural styles appeared. Important public buildings from this era include the original National Assembly building, built in 1952, now forms part of the Prime Minister's office. The Lycée de Vientiane, built in 1956. The Mahasot Maternity Hospital. Col du Sacré-Cœur. The Vientiane Municipal Swimming Pool. The Central Post Office, and the National Stadium. The latter part of the 1950s saw the deterioration in the political situation of the Royal Lao government, and few public works were therefore commissioned. The most recognised building from this period is the Patuxai Monumental Arch, dating to 1957. Said to have been constructed from US-purchased cement, destined for the construction of a new airport, the arch has the nickname the Vertical Runway. The last major public building project under the Royal Lao government was the Presidential Palace, an elegant two-storey Beaux-Arts-style mansion designed by local architect Kampong Poniko. The site on which the palace stands had been the heart of the Lao Royal Palace complex, although it had remained an overgrown wasteland for some 73 years. Construction began in 1973, following the formation of the final coalition government. However, the building was not completed until 1986, when it was finally opened as the reception and ceremonial hall for visiting heads of state. The second part of my story will bring us from 1975 to the present day.